Steven.
There he is.
What's up, gents? Good to see
How
y'all.
you doing?
Yeah, you too.
Bill, I am going tonight to see the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace in theaters.
Wow.
They did a re-release,
but
and I plan on feeling all the teenage angst all over again of when Darth Maul lit up the dual lightsaber.
So here's the thing, Steven. I hated The Phantom Menace.
But see, that's the thing. I think we hated it then. And I think people are, especially after the last 7 through 9, we're like, they weren't that bad.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. So much respect for 1, 2, and 3 now because of 7, 8, 9.
How 7, 8, and 9 are even allowed. Like, I'm surprised they haven't just pulled it and said, hey, you know what? If we promise to redo it again, guys, will you see it again? We'll all raise our hands and say, yeah, we'll go see it.
Totally wanting a mulligan on that.
You can use the same actors. It's like the actors weren't even the problem.
No.
So many things. Many things. And they've admitted they didn't even know who the absolute bad guy was after the second one, number 8 was made. They admitted it.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, Palpatine somehow. I don't know. We don't have enough time or budget to get into it.
It's treason then.
So I'm excited about it. I'm like, listen, Jar Jar, he is what he is. Whatever. We can get past that. But I was like, as far as Duel of the Fates, the soundtrack to that fight, it's one of the greatest soundtracks of all time.
It is really good.
Spaceship fight, great. Pod racing.
Yeah.
Wasn't just a great thing in and of its own.
Yeah.
For me, like, it led to in my opinion, one of the greatest video games. I mean, it's top 50 of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of good things came from it.
So in order of preference here, rank your chapters.
Well, I mean, the 4 through 6, obviously, number 1,
obviously. So
and I'm going to go with Empire. I don't think that's that bold of a statement to say it's the best one of all 9.
Not a bold statement.
And I my phone literally calls me Han Solo, so you know where I lie. From an attitude perspective, my wife will, and she is not a geek. When we were dating, she didn't watch movies at all growing up. She was one of these dorks that went outside and like played. So like. And that's not fair because I was a big time athlete too. So that's not fair. She just didn't watch anything. So, I mean, she had never seen Indiana Jones. She had never seen Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, like the list goes on. And
sheltered woman.
Sheltered life up in Wisconsin, focus on things like school, whatever. I know. Goes off to be in the medical school. And when we were dating, I said, I can't communicate with you. Like, I want to take our relationship further, but I can't communicate with you unless I can throw in some movie references. You have to pick one franchise. So I gave her 3 options. She picked Star Wars, and she liked them way more than she wants to admit to people publicly.
Yeah,
because she thinks it's cool to not like it. And then she ended up getting this job at this hospital where this guy's a bigger dork than I am. He's calling he's the head surgeon of this hospital wing. He's calling his people the Dragon Army from Ender's Game. And she's coming home to me going, he just called me his Padawan today. What does that mean? Is that good? And it made me so happy that she was forced into geekdom through her boss. It was fantastic. So, yeah. And now the kids are growing up and they like the little Star Wars cartoons and the little Spider-Man cartoons and all that. So she's getting sandwiched one way or the other. I'm gonna make her a fan one way or the other. So.
All right. That's fantastic. Yeah. I have one of my favorites is actually 3, Revenge of the Sith.
It's not a bad choice.
It's
not a bad choice. That
good.
lightsaber fight is epic.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, as compared to what we got in the other ones. Heavy slash. Okay, cool.
No kidding. I actually saw something released the other day. I guess it's something Lego's doing with the whole Lego Star Wars franchise, where it's like a mix-up. So it's like where the whole Star Wars world is flipped on its head, and
that's cool.
And it's Darth Jar Jar.
Oh, really? So it really is kind of a crossover Star Wars multiverse.
They're totally
bizarre.
I would show up for Darth Jar Jar. He's laughing in that dorky voice as he chops your head off. I mean, there would be something twistedly diabolical.
I think Jared was only like 9 or 10 when Phantom Menace came out, right, Jared?
Yeah.
You were like
No.
right in that
Yeah, sweet spot. I mean, I
Sweet
was
spot.
like, I was a kid,
Yeah, I
like
was
living
11,
it up.
25,
Yeah.
25 years ago. So
Oh,
I'm
wow,
36
okay.
now.
And
Am I the
like,
old guy in the room today?
Oh, you're definitely
Jeez,
you're always the
oh
old
my
guy.
You have a
gosh.
goatee, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I know. We were
I mean, you could be a youth pastor with that thing.
oh my gosh.
No, but I had the whole Mountain Dew and Pepsi collection. I had every single can.
Oh yes, I forgot about
Yeah.
those. Going around the neighborhood on recycle day and picking them out of people's trash cans.
Yeah, we had collected every single
about
one.
that.
And then like we had stored them, and we had all unopened, so they were all just like pristine. And so, you know, of course, eventually they have to go into storage. We didn't have a huge house. They went up in the attic, and we went up there like 2 or 3 years later and opened it up, and every can had busted open.
Oh, okay. See, mine were empty. I didn't have anything in them, but yeah.
But I would totally have that on a shelf back here if I still had that.
Man, I totally forgot it. Jared, we had the last great childhood.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
we really did.
yeah,
we really did.
It all. I mean, it is as like normal as it is for people to say. I guess like it all ended when 9/11 happened.
It
really did.
That was
well. It was. I mean, because all that coincided with the rise of the smartphone and the invisible digital change that we have. I mean, it just. Yep. It was the last great childhood, I think, and hopefully we'll get back to that. I mean, I think in 20 years we'll look at what social media is doing specifically to kids and anybody under the age of 21, and we're going to be like, why didn't we just give them meth? It would have been healthier. So
no, but I mean, but really, I mean, they're saying that the stress of being on a smartphone and being on social media for kids is the equivalent to like several cigarettes a day.
Oh, I tell people are shocked when I say this. I say, I will give my kids a bottle of Jack and a pack of cigarettes before they're allowed to have social media before 18. Yeah. And they're shocked that I say that. And I'm like, I'm going to turn out to be the better parent than you. And you're going to be shocked. Like,
boy, that's a statement. And I agree with you.
It's a statement, but I'm like, I think this is absolutely terrible for them. And I think one of the first steps, not for government overreach, but this would be in their purview. I think the next step is to ban cell phones in school. Okay, maybe you let them keep them in their locker, call people afterwards or whatever, but no cell phones in the classroom.
Yep.
So you're starting to see individual schools go to that trend. Got to get these kids' attention spans back.
You really do. And you know, we were talking about how we even started this podcast, and one of the reasons is you know, people were certainly your age, my age now, we're very sentimental about how we grew up because it was more simple back then.
Right. Yep. It really was.
And I really feel bad for my kids are certainly older than y'all's kids. But I wish they had gone through what I went through. The times were different.
Yeah.
Things were simple. You know, if you wanted to, play with your friends, you went outside. You didn't sit there and just texting.
And this isn't generational old guys talking.
No.
The good old days. Like that's not what we're talking about. Millennials, we were the guinea pigs of the technological the digital revolution. Gen Z's growing up the natives in it, and we're the ones who remember the before and after. And we're sitting here going, guys, this isn't about we're just old and you guys are young. It's like, no, it's literally better. And we're not
boomers. We're not boomers, Stephen.
Right.
That's right.
So the person that's not the boomer is Stephen Corson. Stephen, welcome to the Boombox Boardroom. So happy to have you here. We've been chatting for a while before we even, lit the fuse on this puppy, but
that's right.
Really good to have you here. Good to see you again. Full context, everybody. Stephen and I had a little bit of time together working with a mutual client. And, it said that client is still with us over here and having a great time with him, doing some big things. But Stephen, I definitely want to talk to you about your journey and all the great things you're doing, right now. So
excited to be here. Excited to reconnect with you guys. And
awesome.
Yeah, no, when you guys reached out, I was like, I don't say yes. That since I did the TED Talk, I've been getting a couple people to do podcasts and everything. But when I saw you guys reach out, I was like, we're definitely doing this one.
So how did the TED Talk happen? I'm just curious about that. How
did that happen? Complete accident. It was seriously wild. And and this was also, ignorance is bliss sometimes too. I did not realize how much or how difficult it was to get a TED Talk. I had taken a public speaking course. I kind of saw that as the natural progression with me coming out, and was in a coaching program and finished that up last year. And I ended up doing this experiment on myself for 90 days. And what I thought, because somebody had suggested, I was like, oh yeah, a TED Talk would be good practice for public speaking, right? That was literally my mentality going into it. And I had seen it, we've all seen a TED Talk here or something. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. And then I applied one time and got it. Well, then after I got it, I went back to this speaker community and I told people, I'm like, hey, I got this. Talked to 3 different people that had done TED Talks. Everybody asked me the first question. The first question was the same. Everybody asked me, they go, how many times did you apply before you got one? And I was like, 1. Why? Is it hard?
Oh my god!
Some of these people apply 200 times before they land a TED Talk. There are coaches.
I believe it though.
There are coaches who will charge $15,000 to $35,000 just to increase your chances to get a TED Talk.
Wow!
What?
Yes, I'm in the wrong business. So it's unbelievable. It is an entire thing, because this is the dirty secret about TED Talks, right? Once you get one, name one other brand public speaking platform.
Yeah.
I don't know one.
Point.
So it's like, if you say you did a TED Talk, it's instant credibility for you as a speaker, and you are able to increase your fees. So that's why people want it across the board. I mean, I was like, this is Gainesville, Florida. Like, how many people are going to apply? We had speakers from New York. Yeah. One was supposed to come from Colombia and she didn't make it. Like, we had people from all over the world coming to this one, because it doesn't matter. Nobody cares where the location is. They just want to say they were a TED speaker. So anyway, I got it done, found out I had to memorize the speech. You don't get a teleprompter. Most of them don't let you do PowerPoint. So that was an experience, having to memorize 15 minutes of dialogue. I had to memorize a paragraph since college.
Yeah.
And then ended up doing it. And it was a little bit of a different talk. It was about overcoming challenges with an alter ego. And the experiment that I had done on myself was with teaching people on lifestyle design, personal finance. A lot of what we do is we have to overcome, certain bad habits or, characteristics that we've developed. And I was researching, why do people change? And just as importantly, why they don't change. And I came across an incredible amount of overwhelming data and research that had been done on alter egos. And then when you kind of take a step back and look at it, you realize that alter egos are all around us in the public sphere. Kobe Bryant, the Mamba, Black Mamba, Beyonce, for big fans of hers. I didn't know this, but she had stage fright early on in her career. And she came up with an alter ego she named Sasha Fierce to overcome her stage fright.
Oh, I remember that.
David Goggins. I mean, like, the list goes on and on. Yeah. So the opening line of the talk was, I did an experiment on myself for 90 days, and now I have something in common with Kobe Bryant, Beyonce, and Batman. So
wow,
that was the opening thing. And then basically the talk was about 3 things. It was what an alter ego is not, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. The most common one is that an alter ego is a fake version of yourself. That is not what an alter ego is. The second thing is what an alter ego is. And what I would say is, Bill, are you the same guy at work that you are when you're on a date with your wife?
Oh, I'm supposed to legitimately answer that?
I mean, most people are going to say no, right? So are you the same guy with your kids? No, you act differently around them. And are you being fake with one or the other? No, you are being you, but you are accentuating.
It's a really good question, right?
You are right. You are accentuating certain characteristics about yourself in that moment to succeed at whatever it is you are doing.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, people who don't have alter egos, it's just a psychological shift. It's a tool that we use in order to be the best version of ourselves in that given moment. It's not fake. It's just, hey, I don't need to be this hardcore, go get them, sales clothes guy, whatever right now when I'm telling my kids, hey, you need to pick up your toys.
Yeah.
So, it's like I need to be a little more empathic and all that. If anything, not being able to switch that, being the guy or the woman who comes home from work and doesn't get out of that mode and doesn't adjust that, that's actually a problem, because that can hinder the way that we're relating, because your kids don't need the business version of you, right?
So
They
it's
need to
it's
carry you.
not
Right.
it's not inauthentic,
No.
but you're just steering. You know, everybody's got agendas, right? So my agenda over here is to get my kids to pick up their toys. My agenda over here is to sell something. It's not, you're not being inauthentic. You're just kind of gearing how you talk, how you present, right, for
Exactly.
what outcome you're looking for.
Yeah, you might be an empathic person. You might be somebody who's, very aggressive and driven,
Mhm.
but does accentuating that characteristic about you help you in a romantic situation? Probably not. Probably better to be a little more soft spoken, to listen a little bit more, whatever the case may be. It's all about, and sometimes it's even, you can be different at work depending on the client you're with.
Yeah.
This is something I was always really big into. If I walked in and I was working with a CIO, CEO, whoever, and I see that desk is pristine clean,
Mhm.
I see the one, military medal, sitting over there, and I understand this guy is probably a no BS dude, I would, not do a ton of small talk. I would keep that meeting very efficient, very short, even though I'm a natural talker, even though
Yeah.
I love doing the relational stuff. I
Right.
would know to serve me in this moment, to give this client, to close the sale, whatever, I am going to adjust my behavior to a way that makes them more comfortable.
Mhm.
And by being the most efficient I could be, getting a 30-minute meeting done in 20 minutes and giving them 10 minutes back in their day, that's what they valued. But
Yeah.
then I walk into another CIO's and I see her desk is trashed, tons of stuff all over the place, pictures of the kids, family, vacation stuff. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to talk with them. Oh, hey, that's a great picture. Where did you guys go? Martha's Vineyard? Wow, what was that like? Be a little more relational. They appreciate the banter, the break away from the business stuff, and then we'll dive into it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not being fake, right? I'm just adjusting to whatever is going to help me succeed in that particular moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've done very similar things. I had those moments, and I kind of just use this phrase. There's moments I need to be your dad, your best friend, your drinking buddy.
Yep.
A pal on the golf course. Whatever it is in that moment that you really need, and you look for those little cues, right? Just like you said. Got that military medal back in the background. You've got a clean desk. This guy's all business. You will change your approach, right?
Absolutely.
And it's really, really important because ultimately at the end of the day, you're trying to create a connection.
That's
And
completely what it is.
You've
right.
got to find that alignment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's
that's
great.
what the talk
Great.
was about. And the experiment that I did on myself, because I said, I'm not going to recommend this to anybody until I give it a shot. So I
Yeah.
took it to the extreme and I said, what are two things I hate doing but I think would be beneficial?
Mhm.
And those two things were running 5Ks and waking up at 5 a.m. I'm a night
Mhm.
owl. My parents have been, but I was like with kids and stuff, I need to be waking up a little early. And then I just hate running, but I was like, hey, cardio would be good, get a little chubby. So I ran for 90 days. I had no goals. It was just two rules. I said, I'm going to run a 5K 5 days a week. And then I am going to wake up at 5 a.m. 5 days a week too. And just do it for 90 days and see what happens. And then I created what I called a super alter ego, which is where you intentionally name your alter ego. So I told myself, this alter ego, he is me on, two drinks of Red Bull and a shot of tequila. He's fun, he's loose, got a lot of energy, and he loves running. And I would literally, it was almost like the two people on your shoulder talking to each other, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, dear God, I do not, it's August in Florida. I do not want to go on this run today.
Yeah.
And then I would use something called a totem, which is a hand gesture or a physical item that you use, kind of like an inception. And that is an automatic, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an automatic transition when you use a totem to go from one alter ego to the next. So it's a very effective way to do that. So for me, mine was sunglasses because I had to put them on to run. So I would
can
put
totally
on these
see that.
sunglasses, and as soon as I put them on, even my voice would change. I would go from, okay, I do not want to do this, whatever. I do not want to get up, and I would put them on and be like, who gives a damn what you want? Let's go, baby. I'm ready. Get the shoes on. I'm ready to run. And it felt fake at first, but when I tell you, by the end of the first month, Steven, not Hotshot, my alter ego, wanted to go running. It worked crazy well. So if it can work for me doing something I didn't want to do, I know it can work for people who want to actually do something. And for
So-
people who don't want to take it that far and actually name it and think that's weird, multiple studies showed, because it's all about this concept called self-distancing. And multiple studies showed that if you even refer to yourself in the third person, it will allow you to take a step back from your immediate impulses and thoughts and to be more self-aware in a second. So if you just sit there and you go, what would Jared do in this situation? Not Subway Jared, you Jared. We know what Subway Jared did.
Yes, we do.
Not good.
Not good. Don't make him your alter ego.
No.
But anyway, you get the point. So
No, I get the point. And so let me ask you, the people in your life, let's take your wife here. What did she think when the sunglasses came out and you became hotshot?
She thought it was weird at first, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I told her what I was doing. I told her I had no idea how this was going to work, but she was like, okay, let's see. But when she was seeing the results, she's like, because she's a runner, she's training for a marathon right now. Like this woman had babies and was doing, a 10K 6 months later. I mean, ridiculous. And I'm talking like C-section, all that. She's like, she can just get up and go. She's got that mentality.
Yeah.
She knows I do not have that. I can run all day if there's a ball involved. Like, give me a basketball, a football. Like, I'll run all day with you.
Something to distract
to just
you
run,
from the running.
I mean, we domesticated horses 5,500 years ago, so we don't have to run anymore.
Yep.
That's right.
Like, the majority of modern humanity has been finding new ways to not have to run. Planes, trains, take your pick. Even those little Heeley shoes, that with the wheels in them. I mean, we just don't want to do it.
No.
So yeah, but she was all for it, and she thought, man, this is great. And then she started getting into. She's a big David Goggins fan. For Mother's Day, I actually got her a gift. We're going to go see him do a speaking event in Orlando in June.
Nice.
So that was fun. But she even would send me some stuff and started really encouraging me and pushing me on it. And she saw positive change happening. So she was like, anything I can do to support you. She was
so it's kind of interesting that you brought up the whole super alter ego thing. Because it kind of relates to a recent YouTube video that you put out. Because during that journey of, hey, I'm going to do a 5K, wake up at 5 a.m. And you're doing these things not with really any goal in mind, right? But it's that change, it's that journey. But you just started on this YouTube video I watched that you did around stacking wins, stacking those small wins. Talk about that a little bit.
So this is something that I've really noticed as I've been working with people for the past 5 years. I quit 2 years ago from corporate, but I've been coaching people on lifestyle design for the past 5 years. And all lifestyle design is a mixture of, I have a 7-step process that I use, and it's a combination of business strategy. Well, I'm sorry, not business strategy, but strategy in general that I learned from, doing business. So it's a combination of strategic principles and basic behavioral psychology. And what happened was when I noticed, again, this kind of went in line with me studying, like, why do people change? Why don't they change? This kind of went in line with that a little bit, because what I realized is people would have a desire for change. A lot of times we're like, man, I'm ready to go. And the problem is people don't get started. That's got to be the biggest thing that I've noticed. It's not the fact that people start and then fail. It's the fact that they don't ever get started.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? I see this all the time in the entrepreneurial world. I call it productivity porn. Where people are constantly watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
They'll go to conferences, but it's like, just start. Like, just begin. And I was like, why do people not start, even when the desire is there, even when there's a strong why behind it, all these things? Why? So I really started diving into this and getting to the ground level. And what I realized is that oftentimes when we set a goal in our life, we make the first step too grandiose, too big. I had a guy who he was doing some lifestyle design stuff with me. He wanted to run an Ironman in honor of his father who had passed recently. The guy had never ran a 5K before. So he's in here talking to me. That's one of his goals. When I do lifestyle design with people, we're working off a 3-year strategy. A lot of reasons for that. Businesses do it too, tend to work off 3 years. And what I said is, okay. And he's like, yeah, so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to start just running a mile every single day this week. And I just said, no. I said, that's too big. And he goes, what do you mean? It's just a mile. Like I could walk that in 10, 12 minutes. I said, right, but you probably won't. And I was like, you've never ran anything before. I said, let me ask you something. When people go running, I said, what do they run in? And he's like, well, you know, like Nike shoes. I was like, do they run in basketball Nike shoes? And he's like, well, no. And I said, okay, so there's specific types of running shoes that have to go for specific types of feet. I said, your first step is to go find what's the right running shoe for you and talk to somebody at a running store who knows. I said, then what do they run in? I was like, do they run in like long sweats and all that? And he's like, no, they got those little shorts on. I said, right, because chafing is a real thing. I said, so you might want to talk to the guys about that as you get started with this. I said, that's your first step. Go buy shoes, go buy some shorts.
Yeah.
That's step number one. Small step, stack a small win. The next day, something else. The next day, something else. If it cannot be done in 30 minutes or less, it's not simple enough. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I've left it. And the point is we want to turn motivation into discipline. And the best way that I found to do that is to create tiny, consistent, stackable wins that you can do quickly that will move you along instead of, I always like to draw people this picture of a staircase. Imagine you're like, okay, I'm going to climb the staircase, but the first stair comes up to your chest.
Yeah.
You're going to do some stretching before that. You're going to think about jumping. How's the best way to get up this? It's like, no. Make that step so small that you barely got to lift a leg. And then the next one the same. And then you kind of go from there.
No, I think it's a completely relatable, lesson for life. And it's something I've certainly encouraged my kids to do is, hey, perfect's the enemy of good.
Oh,
and people are like, if my goal is sitting out there and man, I've got to be perfect at this. I got to do it. There's going to be too apprehensive to even start that journey. So it's okay. One, it's okay to fail. All right. And you're going to have some bumps and bruises along the way, but listen, what if you can just make it, 1 mile or 2 miles or whatever it is, right? You don't have to make it the 26. All right. It's just getting those small victories behind you. Okay. That creates that motivation that turns into that discipline that you talked about.
Yep. Jared, what about you? Is there something you're working on right now and it's like you're having a hard time getting started, or maybe you got started, you're stalling out a little bit?
It's
we can talk offline.
Yeah. Not at work, because obviously you're crushing it there. For any bosses that may be watching, nothing but productive.
No. It's funny. I've since we connected and I've just been looking at a lot more of your content. I've been very intrigued by a lot of it. Your Fort Lauderdale offering was very intriguing.
Oh,
things like that. And so I'm definitely the type person who tries to bite off everything day one, like 100%. I'm also the type, so I'm the type person who's like, okay, I'm gonna start working out every day at home. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna have the best gym, and it's all gonna be Rogue. So I've got to have a Rogue gym before I start working out. Now that's because that's what I had at my last job. It was, my boss's gym. So I had that access and I was used to that. But I did start stacking those little wins. It was, okay, well, I'm going to start working out in the living room. Okay, cool. Little workouts. Okay. Well, I found a great deal on Facebook Marketplace for a new gym setup. So
nice.
I started there, and then, I need more weights because now I don't have enough weights to do actual squats, so I need to add more weights. Okay, there's another deal on Facebook Marketplace. So it was those little wins, and then it transitioned into a push-up group on LinkedIn with a group of guys.
Cool.
Okay, everybody's trying
to community aspect.
Yeah, so everybody's trying to push to 1 million push-ups together collectively, and
that's cool.
So that was another motivator that got me going, and then doing. Okay, well, I'm gonna try and do 100 push-ups today throughout the day. Okay, well, next month I'm gonna try and do 100 push-ups every day. Okay, well, next month I'm gonna do push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and pull-ups. So it's the first time that I haven't gone full bore day one. And when I do that, I last about 6 months.
Okay,
and then all the weight that I've lost, everything that I've done, falls apart over the next 6 months to a year. And then I get back on the train again. And this is the first time that it's been so gradual that it feels like I'm not all or nothing. And so if I miss a day, it doesn't kill me. But if I hit 7 days in a row, it doesn't kill me either. That makes sense.
Nope, makes total sense. So real quick, if you don't mind, I want to break that down a little bit because you said a lot of great things.
Break it down.
So there's a couple keys to success no matter what you do. And this is all things that I have studied that I put together in this 7-step process, and it is a key element to all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that you talked about, the small steps, that's a great way to get started, okay? But then after that, you need more to turn that motivation into discipline. So then what did you do? On top of all the consistent small wins that you started to stack, you found community. So you did that. And then on top of that community, in this situation, there was a goal that came with that community. So whether or not you have a personal goal, whether the community has a goal in mind, or if there's 2 different goals in there, that's fine. But there needs to be goals. And then if you can add community, that's great. And then I don't know how exactly the community is set up, but there is an element of accountability in that as well, which is one of the most important elements of success in anything. And I tell people there's 2 different types of accountability. You have personal accountability and you have paid accountability. So paid accountability is when you go out, you hire a coach. Hey, I need to talk to a therapist. I need a business consultant. I need a whatever, right? Somebody who is going to make sure that gets done and you are going to pay them. It is literally their job to make sure that you are successful at it. It is the number one indicator that you will be successful at anything. And then on the personal side, it's telling people that are close to you. It's finding community. It's, going out and making regular posts on social media. These are all consistent elements of accountability, because what do we hate? You hear that a lot of the greats talk about it, right? They hate failure more than they love winning. And that is just a base human level emotion. And we know that because how does the news get out? Do they talk about all the great things that are going on in life? No, it's all fear and anxiety based and things like that. Why is that? Because we as humans react to that more. It's a survival mechanism. Okay. Nothing's going to spur. It's like the ability to get food that will spur us into action, for sure. But you really want to make me run faster than ever?
Yeah.
Put a bear behind me. Yeah. Right. I'll be a hell of a lot more motivated with the bear running after me than I will running to get that slice of pizza. So it doesn't matter how hungry I am. So those are all elements, whether, all of that was conscious or some of it was or not, but those are all fundamental keys to success in making changes. So, number one, kudos to you, but for everybody else listening, that's a great way to kind of evaluate that in your life and go, do I have these components for success, whether it's in my business, whether it's in my sales career, whether it's in the way that I am treating my loved ones, whatever the case may be. So it was a great one.
Yeah, I've actually noticed several kind of small wins for you, Jared, since you've been here. No, you set goals. No. You set goals about, hey, I'm going to post every single day, do it from my profile, our profile, whatever. And you're very disciplined about it. Hey, Stephen, you were staring behind Jared's head is one of his small wins.
Okay.
Which is he had a goal and he's like, something, I've never built a wood sculpture before. And he freaking did it.
Wow, you did that?
Yeah.
Dude, that thing looks pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, I had a blank wall for, when we started the podcast, and it's something I've wanted to do for a really long time. And it was like, well, there's not really a better time to, put in the effort and make it happen, to have something to show off. So it's a talking point, but most people think that I just purchased it off of Etsy or something.
No, it's a total different layer of interesting to you all of a sudden. Now you're actually kind of cool.
He's not that interesting.
We got a regular Ron Swanson on our hands.
I actually, my degree is in Parks and Recreation Management, so it's more accurate.
No way. Is it seriously?
Yeah. I have gotten Ron Swanson references in my life more than I care to admit. And
please shave the beard, leave the mustache, and wear a red shirt. Okay, come on.
Just grew my beard back out because my son did not like my mustache.
He does.
Hilarious.
Jared does have a love affair with bacon. He really.
I was going to say the bacon thing. I mean, who wouldn't, right? But it has to be ingrained in it. One of my favorite fictional characters, right there.
Absolutely,
incredible.
What you need for your garage in your workout space is his pyramid of greatness.
Oh
Yes, you
yes.
need
Yeah,
that.
when he did that with the
Yeah,
basketball team,
right
I had a
there,
friend who
right
had
there
that.
over the bench and on the wall.
Dude, the
Yeah,
pyramid of greatness or whatever it was called. Oh my gosh, yes.
yeah, right
So,
next to my selfie where it's my face on Arnold's head. Yeah,
nice. I
so
love it, man. I love it. That's some good motivation right there.
no.
Hey,
So
oh, go
tell us,
ahead.
tell us more about like your business. So you, I mean, you kind of,
Mhm.
you know, coached me there and just like broke it all down. It seems like, I mean, I'm assuming that's just what you do with your clients as well. But just tell us more about that and the journey to get there. I mean, it sounds like you had a very successful sales career and then made a pretty extreme pivot.
Yeah, it was a big one. So basically what happened was I, B2B sales, 14 years, was fortunate enough to find a lot of success in my career, hit President's Club and Winner's Circle pretty much every single year outside of my first year, which was 2009. Not a great time to be selling anything.
No.
So, but so had a lot of success during that time. I was actually up for a promotion, and I had been wanting to start my own company for a long time. I had always known that I wanted to own my own business ever since I had got certified in college as a personal fitness trainer and realized that I'm doing all the work for $11 an hour and we're charging 60. Like, why would I not just have my own business? So that implanted the seed of entrepreneurialism, but I never knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I just, had a career, learned, earned a bunch of money, life was good. And I won't get into it too much, but basically there's a guy, Dave Ramsey. A lot of people have heard of him on the personal finance side. At my church, this was probably about 7 years ago. I had been doing pretty well for myself financially. At this point, I had been executing on these lifestyle design principles for myself, but I hadn't mapped out the 7-step design process that I have. But I knew what I was doing and I was doing it regularly. And I got the idea from working. I was essentially running my life like a business because I was working with these brilliant strategic minds at Gartner. We were meeting with all these C-level executives talking about business strategy. And after 4 years, a light bulb just went off in my head. I said, I should run my life like this. This is actually, I could see how this would apply to my personal life. So I started doing that and seeing incredible results. Well, after at my church, a lot of people started talking to me about money. This is right when crypto started popping. Yeah. Everybody was on two sides of the wall. It's either just criminals use crypto or, YOLO your entire life savings into it, right? Yeah. And I was just this voice of reason that was in the middle of like, guys, it's a risky investment, but there's real technology behind this. And, put a little money in if you can. So because of that, people started talking to me a lot about money. And I said, I've heard of this Dave Ramsey guy. I guess he's got a course thing. I'll do that. So I got like 25 people in. We did the course multiple times. I kept stopping the videos and saying, guys, just so you know, that's his opinion. That is not the only way to do this. Here's an opposing thought. Do whatever you want, but don't think this is the only way, right? Yeah. And when I got done, half of that class wanted me to coach them individually. So I just started working with people for free out of just trying to help kind of a thing. Then they started telling friends about me and, the differences in my perspective on not just money. For me, lifestyle design pretty much comes down to this. It's like the problem with personal finance is that it takes a money first approach. Lifestyle design takes a life first approach. So it's life first, money second. And too many times we flip that. Yeah. So that all eventually, I'll never forget it. I had some person, I had no idea who they were, give me a call and ask me to coach for them. And at this point, it's like, we had just had our first kid. My life is busy. I got a career. I've been doing this for free out of the goodness of my heart. I didn't even want to do it. And I just said, oh, yeah, I'll help you out, man, but it's $500. And he said, done. And in sales, I know if somebody says something that quickly, it's like, damn it, I undercharged. Yeah. I was like, okay. But it was a weird concept. I'm like, somebody's going to pay me to do this? And then I realized I had something. So then from there, spent the next few years really refining the process, turning it into something that was repeatable instead of me just having to start from scratch and show people what I was doing. And that became the 7 steps of my design mastermind. Well, because of the jobs that I had, I couldn't advertise I was doing this or talk about it. I would have had to disclose it to the companies. I'm a contrarian. Screw you guys. You don't need to know about my side businesses. So I didn't tell anybody about it. Sorry, lawyers at Gartner and Salesforce. So I did it on my own time, and it was great. And I loved it. Saw the impacts it was having in people's lives beyond money, marriages, burnout, health. I mean, it went across the board. Mm-hmm. So sorry, I'm trying to give you the answer here. And I know I'm taking a little bit of a long-winded approach, but the context matters, because if I wanted to just make money, I would not be doing this. This is not a great place to get into because I didn't have any credentials in this. Nobody knows what lifestyle design is. There's a lot of uphill battles that I had to do. I was like, if I wanted to just make money, honestly, I'd probably go out and buy some businesses from some of these boomers and everything, update the tech stack, and then flip it after I grew it 20%. Yeah. So, but this is about a passion for me. And my why statement, every single thing that we do always begins with creating a why statement in my programs, because everything comes down to your why. And my why statement is to glorify God, to cherish my family, to serve others, and to have fun while doing it. Well, I wasn't serving others in my corporate position. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a corporate job, right? Most people should. Most people should not be entrepreneurs. But the problem for me was that because I was traveling so much, because I was, going all over the place, I just wasn't able to really do that. And the one little area in coaching that I was only able to do for an hour or two a week, I just felt so strongly about, I need to find a way to scale this and to get this message out.
Yeah.
Because I felt like people really need this. So basically what it came down to, quit 2 years ago, productized everything, turned all, the 80% of the most common stuff that I talked about, put it in a course. And then as of last week, and this is what you saw, I officially launched the Mastermind. And, for those of you who don't know what lifestyle design is, it comes down to these 3 questions. Lifestyle design is answering this: what do I want? Why do I want it? And how am I going to get it? Mm-hmm. That's all that it is. And it goes through my program goes through the 4 phases of strategy, which is, and it doesn't matter if we're talking business strategy, military strategy, personal strategy, there's 4 principles. You have destination, starting point, journey, and checkpoints. So that's what the 7 steps do. It goes through that phase. I tell people all the time, they're like, so are you a life coach? I'm like, no, my life's a mess. you don't even get any advice from me. I got a 7-year-old and 4-year-old twins in there. My freaking 4-year-old twins just woke me up at 4:00 in the morning for some ungodly reason. They just decided to start playing in the room. And it's like, why? Yeah. Why? I have to be on this awesome podcast and deliver in the morning, guys. Like now I'm going to have dark circles under my eyes. I probably have to put on my wife's makeup so I don't look like I'm on drugs. Like, why are you doing this to me? So I love those little monsters. They're great. But I'm sorry, I lost my place a little bit. It's the sleep deprivation.
It is the sleep deprivation.
So anyway, so that's it. So what I do is I tell people, I'm like, I'm not here to give you the answers. When I bring people in, basically the way that it works, you sign up for 12 months. We go through, you go at your own pace. You can do it in a weekend. You can take 6 months, however long you want to do it. But you go through the 7 steps and you get your strategy finished. And then after that, it's just jumping on weekly calls whenever good for you. They're preset times. And you jump on and we talk about progress and where you are and all these other things. Well, the biggest element to it is a lot of what we were talking about with success that you were having, with some of your gym stuff. It's about community. It's about accountability. It's about having a system or a process, right? As you're working out, you have a system or a process. That's all that this is. You have the answers. You know what it is with whatever you're trying to accomplish in your life. You know what you need to do. Okay. I have people coming to me that need help in areas of expertise that I don't have any in, but they do. And that's what I tell them. I'm like, what this is this is a 7-step system that is just based off your input, going to go through this process and then spit out an output that is actionable, that is going to give you the long-term vision of where you're going to be in 3 years. And we're going to go all the way back to literally what do you need to do in the next 24 hours to start stacking small wins. And it's the difference between saying I'm going to bake a cake and just saying that versus saying, I'm going to bake a cake and having all the ingredients laid out. The oven is preheated and ready to go. It's like, it's real. It feels so much more real because you can see it. It's like, okay, I really am going to bake this cake. I know I have all the ingredients. I have the instructions. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. That's the difference. And that's what I have found enables people to have this level of success, is when we get that minute with it. So yeah, I'm not here to give you the answers. I'm here to be a guide along a process. You know, we talked about the hero's journey a little bit when we were preambling. I actually call everyone in the program the hero, because you are the hero to your story. I just want to help you make it epic. So
yeah, so you're the Yoda, you're the Sherpa. I mean, you're helping people along, right? You know, their journey is their own. What goals they have are their own. And I liked how you put it. You know,
there is no try, do or do not.
No, well placed there, Stephen. You get credit for that. Mad respect.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, huge. One other question I have really quick, and I know we're getting close to the top of the hour here, but another video I watched, and I think it's a really good point, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, was Ron, the best way to invest $1,000. Yeah. And, you know, immediately I was like, what's he talking about? It's like, okay, you know, go put it in the, you know, put an index fund or something like that, or whatever. Yep. But your answer was incredibly important. Okay. And so I'd like you to just go through that in a couple minutes here and just talk about how to take that 1,000 and not just grow it by 8%, but how can you really make it a multiplier for you?
Yeah. Yeah, stick it in a meme coin and just let it ride, baby. Diamond hands. No,
Doge for life.
Go.
Please. Okay, you guys clip this like everybody. It's a joke. When we have to come back, they frame me. They set me up. No, I'm kidding. No, basically what it comes down to, actually, I did see GameStop just pop like 80% today because the original Redditor. Did you guys see this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the world that we live in. But people want to make fun of that. But then I sit there and I say, guys, yeah, you want to make fun of GameStop. But last I checked, Rivian, that had zero products ever created, IPO'd at $100 billion valuation. God. So let's not pretend like we're the only ones doing it. The whole thing's a little bit of a scam. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. Back to your question. Basically what I have, it's a really simple concept. It's nothing incredibly fancy. But again, credit going to these brilliant strategic minds that I would work with. I have something that when we go through the program, I just call it the contrarian investment portfolio. Because when you're working, and a lot of people ask me, they're like, Stephen, if I work with you, you know, do I need a financial professional? Do I need a CFP? Do I need a CPA or whatever? And my answer is, yeah, if you want one. I'm not here to replace them. They provide valuable services. But I can show you how to set up a basic financial system to where, you know, maybe you don't need certain elements of them. But if you don't want to worry about that aspect, that's fine. That's part of your lifestyle design. Use that person. So it's not an either or situation between me and a financial professional. Again, they fit very well into the plan, depending on what you want for your life, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that I defer from is this. When you're talking to a financial professional, and you come to them with a question like how to invest $1,000, what are they going to look at? They're going to look at funds, ETFs, all these other things. What is your risk assessment? Blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. That's what they're supposed to do. Yeah. But again, that's a money first approach. I want a life first approach. And one of the biggest asset classes that gives the greatest returns across the board, right? Beats the stock market all time if you do it right, is you. And that's an investment class that we don't talk about enough, is investing in you. And you'll hear a lot of the self-help gurus out there, you need to invest in yourself, you need to do this, and it's great. But people don't necessarily get into the how. Yeah. How do you do that? And that's ultimately what that video was about with the $1,000, is saying, if I only have $1,000, I can stick it in the stock market. And even if I pick a rock star stock that does 50% in a year, which would be insane returns for any stock in a year.
Yeah.
That's $500. I can barely buy groceries for 2 weeks with that anymore, with the way inflation's going, right? That's not going to be life-changing money for me. Yeah. But you know what would be life-changing money is if I took that $1,000 and I put it into a management training program when I was, when I'm, at a mid-level position and I'm trying to get to that next level of management. That $1,000 would be good for a friend of mine who went through my program And we figured out that he had been putting off getting this certification. He was in project management. He had been putting off getting this certification for years. It would have taken him 2 months of study to probably do this and pass it. And he would have got a $10,000 raise immediately if he had this certification. Yeah. That's not, and the whole thing's like $500 for him to pay for. So $500, and you can immediately get $10,000 increase a year.
Yeah.
Right? Just on that, that's a 2,000% increase, ROI on that investment in 1 year. And then it will continue to compound year over year over year. And oh, by the way, it puts you at a higher echelon, which means when there's layoffs happening, you're technically more valuable from a skill set perspective on paper. You're probably less likely to get laid off in that scenario. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. But at the end of the day, it was like, for $500, are you kidding me? You're not going to find anything on the stock market, anything in crypto, anything in real estate that is going to give you that level of return. So that's where people need to sit there and go, what skill gaps do I have that I can go out and invest in myself in order to get me to the next level of a higher pay? And for those of you that are working a 9 to 5 and you don't know what that is, there's a really simple solution. Go talk to your boss. Go talk to your boss's boss. Sit down with them and say, hey, I want to, I believe in this company. I want to grow with this company, whether you do or don't. It's really irrelevant. But if they feel that you have a skill gap to get you to the next level, guess what? Effort is lacking in every single industry and every single company in the world right now. If you show initiative and effort and you come to them and say, I want to grow with this company, I want to get better so I can bring value to this company, I will be shocked if they don't, work with you and give you that feedback in order to enable you to do so. And then they tell you, well, yeah, if you want to be considered for a management position, you need to get better at 1, 2, and 3. Take that $1,000, go invest in things that make you better at that 1, 2, and 3. Check back with your boss and your boss's boss every 90 days and say, hey, I did this. I'm doing this. What's my next step? What can I do? I'm not guaranteeing you that you'll get the promotion, but you're going to put yourself light years ahead of the majority of people who think the best way to get promoted is to show up, do your job really well, and cross your fingers.
Yeah. No, I want to put a big exclamation point on what you just said there. And it's something the reason I really connected to that video is that I did it in my own life. So when you and Jared were all of about 7 or so, this is like 1995. I was
heard
making
about those days.
Yeah, I know those days.
Read about those in a history book somewhere.
I was probably making maybe $26,500, something like that. And I was like, boy, all these tech people are, they're doing better. Okay. So I went and took, and believe me, it was like pulling nickels together, like $500-$600, got some Novell NetWare. Okay.
Oh yes. Novell
NetWare study guides. I built my own network at home and so forth, got some parts and stuff like that, but I'm probably total investment about $600. Within 1 year, that $26,500 turned into quadruple that.
Yeah.
So when people look at where am I going to invest? Am I going to invest in the stock market or something like that? And maybe eke out, maybe it's a great year and you're getting 15%. Okay. Maybe not so good. Really, I love what you said, life first kind of decisions. Invest in yourself because those returns can be substantially greater than anything, any market will ever deliver. Okay. And take it from somebody who's been there and done it. Okay. And I've done that a few times in my life, and it's been the very best thing for not only myself, but my employers, my family has benefited. So just a huge point, and thank you for making it.
And really quick, I want to add one thing because this is a little more advanced, but I talk about this. There's something that I call the TEARS, TEARS. It stands for the 3 everlasting alternating resources. And that is time, energy, and money, and specifically the relationship between those 3. One of the most important things that we have to consider, we're all familiar with one type of relationship between them, which is trading time and energy for money. But one of the biggest life hacks that you can have is when you start learning how to trade money for more time or more energy. That could be thinking, okay, I'm going to buy healthier foods to get more energy. I'm going to work with a personal fitness trainer to get more energy. Time-wise, I actually like mowing my lawn. I don't do it anymore. I don't have a big lawn. It probably only takes me 30 minutes, but it also only costs me $40 to hire a guy to come by and do it once a week in the summer. Well, I am investing my money back into my time, because my time is worth more than $40 an hour right now.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I am then able to take that. I have maids that come in and do deep cleans once a month and all that. Altogether, I'm investing, maybe it's not a crazy amount of money, maybe $300 a month in services around my house. But all of those combined on a monthly basis, maybe $400 a month, to free up what is probably the equivalent of 8 to 10 hours a month for me.
Yeah.
Well, I am then able to take that time, put it into more revenue generating, income generating activities, and out earn that significantly. So that is an element I do like to throw out to people to think of in your own life. That's something I work on with people. The fifth step of my process is systems. And we build systems for our life to free us up in order to get more time, energy, in order to make more money or go live the life that you want to live.
Yeah. Huge point. Again, thank you for making that as well. I think it's really, really important. I do the same thing. Just like, honestly, I'd rather spend my time doing these, again, things with my family or revenue generating things where I could pay to get some of my time back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so very important.
Absolutely.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something, Jared.
No.
You're looking at me like, what's going on? I don't know. Awesome. Jared, was there anything you wanted to bring up from the?
No. I mean,
Okay.
that was awesome. I don't know. I mean, this has been like my favorite episode so far.
I know.
You flatter me. Well, thank you.
No. It's Stephen Corson, everybody. Corson Solutions is the business, right?
Yep. Website, CorsonSolutions.com. Sounds
Awesome.
like croissant if you say it with a French
show
accent.
notes. It'll show up.
Oui. Well, it's been great to connect with you again. Let's stay in touch. I think a lot of really good points came out in this podcast. I encourage everybody continue to watch Stephen and go like and subscribe to his YouTube stuff and connect with him on social media. But buddy, thank you so much for joining us here.
It's
in the
been
Blue
an
Fox
absolute
Boardroom.
pleasure. If you guys are absolutely desperate, I know we were going to talk. I think you guys said something about even personal branding, some of that. We didn't even get into that. We were having so much fun before talking. So if you guys are ever desperate and need a guest to come on, like I said, always happy to come back and chat with you. It's an absolute blast.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I'm Bill Harris.
And I'm Jared Anders.
See ya.
Boom, baby.
Later.